Welcome back. Today, we're doing an explainer on a hidden financial system that honestly dictates absolutely everything. It's this invisible structure controlling how you live, how you work, and how you spend your entire life. We're pulling back the curtain on the great debt trap and looking into exactly why everyone is getting poor.
Let me ask you something. What if literally everything you need to survive suddenly cost more, but your salary? Yeah, it never changed. It just stayed exactly the same. Now, this isn't some chilling, hypothetical scenario. This is exactly what's been happening, not just for a year or two, but for decades. And as you'll see, this squeeze, it's no accident. It's a highly structured system.
Just look at the rising costs of survival. We're talking food, rent, education, healthcare, things that aren't luxuries at all. They're the absolute baseline requirements just to exist in the modern world. Over the past few decades, the cost to access these absolute basics has slowly drained the average wallet. Prices for every single one of these have relentlessly climbed, demanding more and more of the money you bring home.
But here's the real kicker. While those survival costs surged upward, average wage growth effectively hit zero. Zero. This massive mathematical disconnect between what things cost and what we actually earn isn't just a run of bad luck. It's the foundation of a trap you're quite literally designed to fall into. A system that quietly pushes millions closer to the edge, all while making a very, very small group richer than ever before.
Okay, let's dive into this. Part 1, the grand illusion, or really the biggest lie we've been sold.
See, for decades, we were all handed a very specific rulebook. You know the drill. Go to school, get a degree, get a good job, work hard, and eventually you will be successful. It became this deeply ingrained, almost hypnotic promise from society. Whole generations faithfully followed these exact steps, completely trusting that if they just played their part, the system would automatically reward them with financial security.
But the reality check here is brutal. Instead of that promised prosperity, a deeply loyal workforce was met with collapsed homeownership and absolutely exploded debt. Living costs skyrocketed. People faithfully followed the rules to a T, yet they became poorer. And suddenly millions found themselves completely trapped. The illusion just completely shattered.
Which brings us to part 2, the hidden machine. Mind the gap.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what we're talking about. There is a massive, towering gap between the skyrocketing cost of living and the stagnant, flatline reality of average wages. Every single year, food, fuel, rent, they all go up, while paychecks rarely keep pace. This silent void is quietly destroying the finances of almost every single household out there.
So what happens? To fill that void, just to keep the lights on and put food on the table, ordinary people are forced to build a bridge. But that bridge is made entirely of debt. They turn to credit cards, personal loans, monthly installments, buy now, pay later schemes. It basically becomes the only way to survive when your paycheck inevitably falls short.
And the really scary part is how it slowly evolves. First, it feels normal, right? Just a quick swipe. Then, as prices keep surging, it becomes necessary. You literally cannot survive without borrowing. And finally, the trap snaps shut. It becomes impossible to escape. It transforms into this lifelong cycle, silently draining away your future just to pay for your present.
Which leads us to ask, who actually profits from this? Part 3, the beneficiaries, following the money upward.
Every single time a credit card is swiped or a loan document is signed, wealth flows upward, right to the banks, the institutional investors, the financial giants. They sit at the very peak of this pyramid, just collecting interest off everyday people's sheer survival. The terrifying reality of this system is that the more debt exists in the world, the more money continually funnels straight to the top.
To put that into perspective, the sheer magnitude of this is staggering. Today, global debt is larger than at any point in human history. Let that sink in. At no other time has the human race owed so much money. It is a towering structure of borrowed cash that quite literally forms the dark foundation of our entire modern global economy. So the crucial point here from our source material is this chilling core truth. The system survives because people own money. The system doesn't collapse because of debt. It actually requires debt to function at all. Your financial struggle is the literal engine for someone else's financial growth.
Now, before the weight of all this completely crushes you, consider a completely different reality. What if I told you the richest people rarely use money the same way you do?
What if they're playing a completely different game with an entirely different set of rules? This single difference explains why wealth concentrates at the top, and it happens to be the only secret escape route from the debt trap.
Let's explore that. Part 4. The escape route. How the rich play a different game.
While most people are trapped trading their time, hour by agonizing hour, for a single paycheck, the wealthy play by completely different rules. They do not work for money. Instead, they buy assets. We're talking businesses, stocks, real estate. They acquire things that actually hold value and generate returns entirely independent of the hours they physically put in.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because it creates a relentless, self-sustaining loop. The wealth cycle. Assets generate income, that income buys more assets, and then the cycle just accelerates. While millions remain trapped trading time for money just to pay off their debt, the wealthy use this exact mathematical loop to ensure their wealth multiplies while they sleep.
So, what's the takeaway for us? The Great Debt Trap isn't some wild conspiracy. It's simply the mathematical consequence of a system most people are never taught about. But understanding this hidden game, that changes everything. You have a choice here. Stop being the product and start becoming the owner. That is quite literally the only way to stop being a victim of the machine.
The machine is designed to keep you on the treadmill, endlessly bridging that gap with debt. But now that you see the trap for exactly what it is, you have to ask yourself, will you spend the next decade paying for someone else's wealth? Or will you start building your own?